Happy Friday. Another weekend of NBL Hoops is here. Another edition of NBL Now is here as well. With your boys, Joel Peterson and Damon Lowery. Morning, Damon.
JP, my man. Thank God it's Friday, man. Let's get some hoops going.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's been one of those weeks, that is for sure. And we've got some big games. We have some big games this weekend, which is really, really exciting. No Thursday action, so we've got nothing to review. So we're fully in preview mode this morning. Couple of things before we get to it. Of course, the debate's been going around at the moment about who's the best shooter in league history. DJ Vasiljevic sort of put it on the agenda on the Players edition of NBL Now on Wednesday with Pete Hooley. Derek Rucker had his say yesterday. What say you, Mr. Lowery?
I'll tell you what, in the workplace here where I'm at, I'm the best shooter in this particular workplace. But in the history of the NBL, and Joel, I've been on this island for 35 years. I've seen a lot of dudes come through here, a lot of buckets, seen a lot of snipers. And I'm going to agree with some of the names that Derek threw out there. Shane Hill, obviously. John, really, I played with my last year in the league, and this dude was phenomenal. Obviously, Andrew Gaze. But and Michael Johnson from Newcastle. But I'm going to throw out a couple just to spice it up a bit. 1995, Joe, Canberra Cannons. His name was David Close. They called him the Radar. 40% career from three. An absolute out-and-out sniper. And then when you talk about big-time shooters, the ones that step up in big moments, that hit those clutch shots, who could go past Aaron Trahair? Aaron Trahair from Bendigo, West Sydney, Cairns. Who else did he play with? I can't remember who else he played with, but everybody knows as Aaron Trahair can knock him down. So, but overall, in the big scheme of things, at the end of the day, I can't go past Drury. He did it for over 600 games.
Yeah, the resume is outstanding of our very own Andrew Gaze, but the further you go back into the history book, and everyone's got a different view, it's a subjective thing, which is why it's a bit of fun. So, yeah, I think it's something we'll keep sort of talking about and throwing out there over the next little while. So we get some players back before tonight's games and before this weekend's games. We've had this sort of run of injuries in the NBL and some of the big names going out, but it sounds like Bryce Cotton's going to be back. Tassie have said that Sean McDonald will be back. A little bit of a question mark over Will Magnay. Brisbane thinking Deng Adele would be back. So as we go into this fever break, hopefully these guys can get a bit of a run at it, because I think the league is better with some of those names, all of those names out there.
100%. Taron Armstrong has only played 3 games this year. I mean, in his last game he played, he was dominant, I thought, against the Melbourne United. So I just feel like Taron just got to get a good run of injuries. I don't want him to be that injury-prone guy for his career, much like Will Magnay has been the last few years. And speaking of Will, you know, he missed another game last round. Hopefully he can get up. But he's got to stop falling down so much. He'll jump, land, then collapse. You got to stay on your feet, Will. Deng Adele, I forgot he was in the league. I really did. And he was my preseason pick for most improved. And we've barely seen him, so Brisbane Bullets need all the help they can get on the offensive end, so hopefully he shows up. And obviously, Shawnee Mack, Tasmanian JackJumpers. Now, Shawnee Mack is not the savior of the Tasmanian JackJumpers. He's definitely a major, major piece. So whatever he can give them in his first game back would be gravy.
Yeah, hopefully it spaces the floor for them a little bit more. Scott Ross referenced that as an issue all season long. So that leads us perfectly into our first game of the evening, the first game of the round in round 9 before the FIBA break, of course, and hopefully all those guys get through. Hopefully everyone gets through and just gets to the break and can put their feet up if they're not on international duty. Tassie and Brisbane tonight, so it's at MyState Bank Arena. The home team is 3-0 in that building this season, undefeated in their home floor. Do you think just the recent form, a better weekend last week, McDonald coming back, can the JackJumpers get rolling here?
Yeah, Tassie should win this game. Now, they beat them the last time. They beat them in Brisbane already. It wasn't by a whole lot. I think it was 6 or 8. But at home, they're a different monster. And again, if Will Magnay plays, they'll need him because they got Tyrell Harrison, who's the biggest monster, is going to be on the island. But I would like to see Craig Sword duplicate, Joel, what he did last week. 18 points for the... I said, is this sword made out of Valyrian steel? I want to call him the samurai sword so bad, but I need multiple good games out of Craig. I feel like Tassie overall are a better team defensively. Offensively, I don't quite know what I'm going to get from Milton, sometime Doyle. I don't know. He might give you 30. He might give you 6. Have no idea what he's going to do. But I think as a collective, Tassie will have enough to cover Brisbane. In saying that, Joe, I'm looking at the trio of imports for the Brisbane Bullets. The trio are averaging 41 points a game between 3 of them. Not enough. They don't stand a chance, I feel like, as the season goes on, if those numbers stay the same. I need at least 55 to 60 points out of them 3 dudes.
Yeah, Keandre Cook's probably holding up his end of the bargain, or at least most of it. He needs the other 2 to come along with him. Brisbane finally gets a doubleheader for the first time all season, so they've got this weird schedule between rounds 11 and 18 when they just play only doubleheaders, having not played one in the first half of the year. And then you've got a bit of a message for the next star, Rocco Zikarsky.
Yes, Rocco. Now, few have been a bigger advocate of Rocco Zikarsky than myself. I'm a huge fan of his potential, but what I'm seeing right now is concerning. Now, obviously, he's a young dude, and his best basketball is way in front of him. And at 18 to 19 years of age, Rocco is averaging 10 minutes a game, 4 points, 3 rebounds, or other way around. Either way, I'm just not seeing the aggression, Joe. So, Rocco, you are going to get drafted. Yes, we know this, but it's not enough to get drafted. You want to stay in the league. You don't want to have to play G League. You don't want to have to go to Partizan or Real Madrid, although I'm sure those are 2 wonderful countries and got to, and pay well. You want to be an NBA player for your entire career. You're going to have to come out with some aggression. I'm just not seeing it. Now, I can't keep going to Justin Shooter and the coaching staff for not giving you more playing time, not running the offense more, giving you more touches. You got to come out, Rocco, and be a damn monster. Just channel some inner monster, man. What do you got to lose? This is your last season in NBL. It better be your last season in NBL. So, yeah, man, I'm going to need you to just step it up in the aggression side of things.
I like it. We know what he's capable of, and hopefully he can start delivering as far as this season goes, because we saw so many glimpses of it throughout last season. The late game tonight is Perth and South East Melbourne, which all of a sudden is an intriguing contest. So it's 6th versus 7th. The winner of it will go into 6th spot, so essentially be in the catbird seat for sort of that play-in spot later in the season. And I think this boils down to, can the Phoenix defense, which has suddenly turned into something that they can bank on, stop the Perth Wildcats offense, which is their strength when they're at home? How does this play out?
Yeah, Josh King, man. He's got him playing some tremendous defense, 3-1 since he's been coaching, if I'm not mistaken. Nathan Sobey played his best game of the season the last time against Perth. I think he had like 25 rebounds, 5 assists. But, yeah, I like the collective spirit that the Phoenix are now playing with, and they all started when Sam McKinnon started in the role. Now, is Perth if Bryce shows up, and if Bryce probably not going to be 100%, but 50% of Bryce is better than 100% of a lot of other normal people, how will he go in? How will he incorporate himself into what the team has been doing? I mean, lately it's been a collective spread from a bunch of everybody. Now, Dylan Windler also has been up and down, so I need to see him be a little bit more consistent. But this is going to be one of the closest games that are around, and I'm going to lean towards the home team.
Is that just because they're at home?
It's hard to tip against the home team, Joe. I mean, Phoenix have gone on the road in Josh King's first game, and Tassie got the dub. Going to WA is a slightly different beast. So, yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, and Perth are a different prospect out there entirely. They played some great basketball, but I think that'll be a must-watch later on this evening. Tomorrow, the early game, Cairns and New Zealand, so up at Cairns. And finally, we get to see Rob Edwards and Taron Armstrong back together. We had a glimpse of it. We saw what it could be. And we finally get to see them back with Rob Edwards returns from that suspension. Can the Snakes keep their season from slipping away here against the Breakers?
Oof. If any other team but the Breakers, look, I like Adam Ford. Nobody is more happy to see Taron back than Adam Ford. The whole season has been built around Taron Armstrong. And he's only played 3 games. I mean, so what can you do when you don't have your lead guard? And then you get Pedro Bradshaw gets hurt. Then Tanner Groves gets hurt. I mean, you can't remember the last time all 4 of those dudes played a game together. So that should be a nice little welcome addition. And can they get on the road? Can they go and get a dub against a team that just got embarrassed? Now, New Zealand is still, I'm not overreacting from that big loss they had in Tasmania. But now you're going to catch them on the rebound. So now we're going to get to find out what New Zealand is like after getting their asses handed to them. So we're going to see. Now, Cairns play with all the fire in the world. It's all led by Taryn and Rob Edwards. Suspension over. Let's move on. Go back to being that bucket getter. This one should be another spicy contest.
It should be, and hopefully New Zealand on the brink of getting a few players back. We know they won't have Jonah Bolden, but Mojave King and Max Darling hopefully not too far away. And that leads us into the Freeway Series. So Illawarra and Sydney. Hooey, this is a marquee matchup as the man in the Hawks stuff leans back in his chair. So Hawks have been disappointing the last 2. They need a scalp. The Kings are starting to sort of figure things out. How does this play out, Damon?
Joe, I can't put into words. Words don't do it justice when I tell you that we don't like the Kings as a former Hawk player. The Hawks, that series, that rivalry is so real. Now, yes, Wollongong are a little bit wobbly at the moment. Trey Kells comes back into the lineup. They got off to a good start, but they took that L in Adelaide. Sydney Kings is 7-5, have not been setting the world on fire. These 2 teams could not have a win or they could be undefeated each. It don't matter because when these 2 teams lock horns, it is going to be fireworks. I got Davo Hickey on one side. I got Sean Bruce over there. Xavier Cooks, damn near born and raised in Wollongong. We love Cookie, though. Let's make no mistakes about that. Zabe is okay with us. But the big matchup for mine in this series is Sam Frawling and Xavier Cooks. Because now I figured this would happen, Joe. The Kings are too small. Cameron Oliver, we don't know what mood him and Brian Gordon are in. Xavier Cooks is going to be playing a bunch of 5-man. He weighs about 85 kilos. He's going to have to guard Sam Frawling for stretches during the game. And the Hawks have a tendency to kind of go away from Sam. Sam has a tendency to not be as aggressive as he needs to be. That's the matchup right there that's going to decide this game.
Which way do you think it'll fall?
Hawks. Hawks. Kings, you're going to have to hold another L. Sorry. Now, I'm still got the Hawks as my preseason pick, like I said, to win the whole thing. And like you said, every team's going to go through some peaks and valleys. Right now, the Hawks are going through theirs. The Kings have kind of been bobbing and weaving all season. But I think that the Hawks get this one in front of a sold-out sandpit crowd.
If they do, it sort of bolsters their case to be right at the top of the competition once more. The early game on Sunday is an absolute blockbuster. So we've got a couple of contenders to kind of be the game of the round here. Melbourne United and Adelaide, 2 of the absolute appointment viewing teams in the competition. They're both coming off big wins. How does Adelaide's defense match up against Chris Goulding? Do they just bring fire extinguishers into the building? That might be their best ploy. There's no Jack White to take on Montrezl Harrell. Who wins this one?
Wow. Melbourne United, man, like you can never underestimate them ever, especially at home. Their defense travels, man. They're at home, but their defense, like Shea Healy could not have been any more impressive than he was last game against Perth. No Jack White really hurts them. I mean, there's your leading rebounder. There's your best athlete because the last time they played Adelaide and beat them, he was not his monstrous self. Now Kyle Bowen, Knox Raider Kyle Bowen, NBL player, young NBL player Kyle Bowen, you got your hands full. But here's the matchup though, Joe. I wouldn't even start Kyle Bowen on Trez. I'm going to put Marcus Lee on Trez. Marcus Lee is a better athlete than Kyle Bowen, can use his length, foot speed, and his just general defensive prowess. Now, that means Kyle Bowen, you go guard Isaac Humphries. Because Isaac Humphries, he can come and go. He might get the ball, he might not. If he does get the ball, he'll be 25 feet away from the basket. You ain't got nothing to worry about out there. So I'm going to go Lee on Trez, but the DJ Vasiljevic in the Chris Goldie matchup, could it be any more tasty? I'm gonna predict, Joe, my bold prediction, even though I'm not calling that game, is 14 threes made between the both of them. Oh, just an explosion.
I like that. I think that'll get a few people out of their seats. That'll be
that's my tip. Yep. So I'm tipping Melbourne United at home.
Okay, Melbourne United at home. Personally, I hope that Kyle Bowen does guard Montrezl Harrell, so we've got the mustache versus Montrez. That'd be fun. I'd like to see that battle of styles, and there's all kinds of contrasting elements there. So Brisbane and Perth, the other game on Sunday, of course, we'll know a little bit more about that as we go throughout the course of the weekend. Before we go, there's a few whispers, there's some rumblings, some drums are beating, that we might get a mid-season edition of a certain list that causes a little bit of controversy in the next little while, produced by our friend Mr. D. Rucker. If that was to happen, what are you looking forward to seeing in that?
Oh, yeah. See, Derek has raised the bar. The standard is very high. So hopefully he's in his little Rucker bunker over there getting it all prepared for us. Now, his first preseason top 15 that came out, there was a lot of moaning and groaning when we saw, Milton Doyle way down the bottom. We saw Jarrell Martin way up the top. Didn't know he was going to be hurt. Montrezl Harrell wasn't even in the league at the time. So this list is going to significantly change, and anybody that's got a problem with it, that's a self problem, I think. But we're going to see some little dudes feature right up the top again, Joe. The little big man society will be well represented, and Kendrick Davis is in that society too, by the way. So yeah, I can't wait to see it. And Derek, you know what you need to do, man. Bunker down and drop it.
Does Kendrick Davis qualify even that his hair makes him a little bit taller?
Nope, because I met him in Adelaide last week, stood right next to him. We eyeball to eyeball. That qualifies you.
All right. I like it. Hey, Damon, have a good weekend.
Do the same, man.
Damon Lowery with us on NBL Now. Thanks for your company as well. We're back on Monday, that Moments That Mattered, after all the action over round 9.